season we're about to enter. The Knicks taking no short, just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 683 of the New York Knicks podcast. I am Jay, with me is Mark, and special guest today, Dolan J. Trump. Thanks for joining us, man.
Jay, Mark, it's truly an honor to be on your show. I know we've been trying to do this for a long time. The stars finally aligned where I'm able to join the show.
Yeah, but anyone that doesn't know, he has one of the most clever Knicks accounts there is on Twitter. Dolan J. Trump has a lot of funny things out there, and we're glad to have you on the show today, and glad to have you after the Knicks had a spectacular come-from-behind victory. How are you guys feeling during that game?
I had drafted a eulogy tweet, and I said, you know what? Don't post that now. Don't be that guy. And I'm glad I didn't, because so many people did, and it just looked so bad afterwards. So showing some restraint.
I was in a lot of pain when they were down 20. Dolan, how are you feeling?
I was not drafting the eulogy tweets. I could not stand reading all that in the middle of the second quarter. I'll be honest. I was in the complete disbelief just seeing them go down by 20 points, and my leg was shaking probably for the entire game. But I don't know. If anything, I was drafting tweets more along the lines of we need to fight like hell, and the art of the comeback, something like that. So.
I was just in a lot of pain. I was watching on I had some family in town. I was watching on delay, like an hour and a half behind the game. And every moment I was just like, how is this actually, how are we going to get swept today? My son's upstairs. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to rush down to watch the game. You just join me in a little while. I couldn't believe how.
I didn't know you were on delay, and you usually message me during the game, and it was just radio silence, and I was gonna call the cops.
I had family over, and I had blocked everything out. The good thing was I had blocked everything out, so I had no idea the outcome of the game. My son comes down, he usually is watching a lot of the game with me. He doesn't come down to somewhere the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and he's just the whole time Dad, I'm sure they're gonna win. They come back. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna come back. Oh my God, Towns has these free throws. The whole time I'm just stressing out. Afterwards, he's like, yeah, I checked the score ahead of time. It's fine. I knew we were gonna win. And I was like,
That's funny.
What a goddamn game. What a goddamn game. And it went from last game where I was questioning whether the Knicks should have been traded for Towns. I felt so bad. Last game was pretty brutal, and Towns didn't look very good. To the fourth quarter, when all I was shouting was, give the goddamn ball back to Towns. Give the ball back, every time. It was just the craziest fourth quarter.
Yeah, Towns is injured. He's really the most flawed superstar talent I can ever think of in the NBA. What other player can you think of that can look so bad, but then he's unstoppable?
Yeah. Do we think he's he's like Randall, right?
I don't know. I don't think Julius Randle was going to score 20 points and lead us to 20 points in a quarter and lead us to a dramatic comeback. As much as I appreciate Julius Randle for all that he did for the Knicks, and I appreciate his talent. I can't ever see Julius Randle doing what Towns did last night.
No. He's the heights. So the heights. You're right. So the heights of Towns are much higher than the highs of Towns are higher than Randle ever was. But he's just as a perplexing, a frustrating player. He does these crazy drives to the basket. Sometimes he has a lot of turnovers. His defense it's a lot of what we had with Randle in a guy with a higher ceiling version.
Yeah, I think it's a higher ceiling, lower floor type of player. Sometimes he's taking shots from almost half court with 20 seconds left on the shot clock, and with nobody rebounding position. And could you just never do that again? And then other times he scores 15 straight points and he's unstoppable, and there's almost no in between.
Right. He's the kind of player where also you're if I could harness this energy, we could be unstoppable. How do I harness this so it's he's this good always?
Do we want to talk about the first two games at all, or are we just going to skip right to game 3?
Oh yeah, we haven't recorded since last week. Okay.
The only thing I'm gonna say about game 1, I don't know if I texted you guys my my conspiracy, not really a conspiracy theory, my wacko theory. I don't know if you saw Jim Irsay died. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Owner of the Indianapolis Colts. His last tweet was something along the lines of like, "Go Pacers," like "good luck" or something like that. And then as I'm watching the game, like after the fact, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, everything that just happened made no sense. And everyone who commented on it, Zach Lowe, Michael Wilbon the next day on PTI, no, everyone was saying the same thing. They'd never seen anything like that before. And when you think about all the ridiculous plays, the constant falling down, the Aaron Neesmith never missing, and then the last shot by Halliburton at the buzzer, where I've never seen the ball go straight up in the air and come straight back down and through the hoop. It honestly reminded me of the movie Angels in the Outfield. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was like
It was the ghost of Jim Irsay.
Ghost of Jim Irsay dunked the ball, basically took that ball and like, I'm putting it back. How does the ball even bounce that way? The only one I remember, like anything close to that, was the Kawhi shot against Philly, where he hits that shot and it bounces and goes in and they beat Philly.
Right. But then, I mean, if you look at it
This
again,
bounced higher.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it goes way above the backboard and then it comes straight down. It didn't even move like an inch or two.
Yeah, this was the craziest. It was also like when the shot happened and it bounces high, you start celebrating. You're like, the Knicks have to survive this, and then it falls in. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, if you played that fourth quarter 1,000 times, the Knicks win 999 of those. Neesmith has never been that good in his entire life. As far as the Angels in the outfield thing, only Knicks seem to be slipping. Like Hart was having these mysterious slips. OG, it was weird. It happened more than once or twice. Like Hart slipped at least 3 times. It was very weird.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Nothing made sense.
Yeah.
This is the only logical explanation. You guys can call me crazy. I don't care. This is what I believe.
Don't you think the players each have a backup sneaker for every game? How does someone see Hart slip and he does not change his sneaker?
Well, I mean, like Brunson slipped and it was because like the floorboard was loose or something last series. So maybe you think that's what happened, but then it happened 2 more times. I don't know. It was
Hart was on like ice skates. It was so ridiculous. I don't know how. Yeah, that was he slipped again on that inbounds play where he somehow got the ball anyway. Yeah, Naismith going crazy, just could not miss a 3. Like he was like this. It was like he was as good as Steph Curry's ever been.
It was weird because I was so calm during that comeback because I was just like, there's no way they're going to keep hitting threes. And Mark's messaged me like, I'm nervous. And I just kept saying, they're up by so much. There's no way they're going to lose this game.
So, Dolan, what were you thinking during this? Like, did you think the Knicks were going to melt down? How did you feel during game 1?
Yeah, I mean, when they got down to 11, I'm like, okay. Then we got down to like 5, and then the missed free throws and the turnovers and the slipping. I don't know what point I got nervous, but I think I blacked out that memory, to be honest with you. I think when when Halliburton's buzzer beater went in, I don't even remember what I was thinking, but because I thought they lost at that point. Everyone thought it was a 3.
The Jay was texting me that like, wow, like Indiana's like has Ben Shepherd and Obi Toppin in. What's Carlisle even doing? Like they're like a disaster. And I'm like, Jay, I don't think you see what's going on here. Like, you've been a Knicks fan for all your life. You don't see the meltdown that's coming right here. And then Jay's like, after the Halliburton 3-1 in, he goes, I think you're right.
Yeah, it was like overtime and the Knicks were down. I was like, Mark, I think I'm nervous now.
I think I'm nervous now.
What's frustrating though is
go.
in those moments, so when there's like, it was under 3 minutes left in the game, and let's say the Knicks are up by 11 points or 14 points, whatever it was. If Indiana is shooting 3-pointers, this is what I never get. If Indiana is shooting 3-pointers and making them, okay, why don't the Knicks then at that point work the clock, take a higher percentage 2-pointer? I don't know how many times they got sucked into taking 3-pointers, like trying to go match for match with them with 3-pointers, because at the end of the day, they're not going to outpace you with, pardon the pun, with exchanging 2s for 3s at that juncture of the game, especially if you have a lead like that.
Right, but you can ask the Celtics. The Celtics did the same thing and had the meltdown. Right, you should just match their 3s with 2s and you win the game. So much went wrong in that game. Like that bounce pass to OG under the basket. He doesn't fumble that pass. 9 out of 100 times he's not fumbled that pass.
Right, because Jim Irsay.
it was, yeah. Like the haunted game theory is better than any other theory I've heard.
Right. So they, at the end of the day, they didn't collapse. It was a supernatural force within the garden.
Yeah.
So game one was haunted. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Game two.
Remind me. So last year the Knicks were up. Did they go up 2-0 or 2-1? Like with
2-0.
On Indiana, 2-0.
2-0.
That was
They
the
went-
game when OG like blew out his hamstring.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought they were.
And,
So
and Brunson left the game at a certain point when he had the foot injury, and then came back. That was dramatic game 2 win.
But it's crazy that like 2-0, they came back and won the next 4, and then the Knicks are going to win the next. The Knicks are going to do the exact same thing. They're going to win the series 4-2. Like this is happening, right?
I really hope so.
I don't know. I said before the season started, before the series started, I said Knicks in 7. So I knew this was going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's what I said. too.
I thought they would split 1-1, lose game 3, come back, win game 4, something along those lines, and then, like that. I didn't think it was going to be fall behind 0-2 in the series.
The Knicks, I'm feeling the Knicks are going to win the series. You don't have. I mean, no team has ever done come back from down 20 more than once in the playoffs. The Knicks have done it 3 times. They're going to the finals. They're going to win this series.
I think so, because I think they finally unlocked something. I think he finally figured something out, and that was to play Landry Shamet, to play DeLon Wright. I've been clamoring for Shamet to get some playing time forever. I'm a huge fan of his. I know you guys are also. I think before the playoffs started, you guys were saying Shamet should get some minutes. But I don't understand. If you're going against a high-flying Indiana team, Ben Shepherd hits a 3-pointer. The best way of combating that is you come down the court and then Shamet hits a 3 of his own. And, as opposed to just the no shooting lineups is the killer.
The campaign playing like I guess for game 2, they were tied to going into the fourth quarter. Campaign plays like 4 minutes and the Knicks can't recover from those 4 minutes.
Right. And also, and I think they did a better job of staggering Brunson and Towns, because I think that when the two of them are on the court at the same time, it's like they just pick them apart.
Well, that's the key moment. The key moment from last night's game was Brunson getting his 5th foul, which I thought was kind of BS. But that 5th foul forced Tibbs to put a more defensive lineup in, and like that worked. That worked better than anything else he would have done. If Brunson doesn't get that 5th foul, he stays in the game. The offense runs through Brunson, not as much through Towns, and the defense is worse. They lose last night if Brunson doesn't get his 5th foul.
Well, I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I think a big part of it also was just having a lot of fresh legs, because having a 9-man rotation against a really fast team like Indiana, now you got fresh bodies and you could play more intense D. I mean, they're also better defenders. Like DeLon Wright's a way better defender than Brunson, but I feel like just having constant fresh bodies out there was big, because the Knicks have had a habit of looking exhausted in the fourth quarter and kind of flaming out, like especially during the regular season. And I just think having all those bench player minutes in there helped a lot as well.
Would you stick with the same starting lineup as game 3 for game 4?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I would, because if you remember the beginning of the game, games 1 and 2, I feel like Indiana hit all their shots to start the game. We were just lucky not to be, down by 10, 12 points, especially in game 1 when they started off 8 of 8. But if you notice yesterday, Indiana wasn't really making their shots at the beginning of the game. We just weren't making our shots also. That was preventing us from getting out to an early lead. I thought the Mitchell Robinson piece was huge. So
I thought he's helpful on defense. Yeah, I guess I would. So he subbed Towns out like midway through the first quarter, and then like left Mitchell Robinson in for the entire first quarter. I wondered if that like kind of like got him tired. Can Mitchell Robinson really play a full quarter? I don't know. I feel like the stretch is that he leaves these guys in the game a little too long sometimes.
That might have been a little too much, but I would keep the same starting lineup, and I would also keep the 9-man rotation.
Yeah, we agree that Campaign should never play for the Knicks again.
Yeah, Campaign could just be a hype guy off the bench who does gets Mikal Bridges all excited with
does his
bobbling
TikTok
head
dances
and exactly. He did his job. I mean, in terms of he won us game 1 against the Pistons. He was an admirable backup throughout the entire season, but at this point in the season, like he's just not a good fit for this series.
Who made the joke last night? Which of the commentators made the joke? Tibbs wouldn't play 9 men in baseball.
Kenny Smith, yeah.
That was such a great line.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I would play the 9 guy. I mean, like DeLon Wright, I thought he looked really good in his minutes. Like you don't see it on the stat sheet, but he made a difference on defense.
Yeah.
I think Landry's defense is a lot better than Cam's defense, and he could hit a couple threes. Like you got to have guys, you got to have fresh legs. You got to have guys who are gonna play defense. I would want to also not limit, because obviously they have to play together. But I want a decent chunk of time when Towns on the floor and Brunson's not on the floor. Just give Towns more time to work.
Well, also to not have 2 negative defenders on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, that's really also it. The 2 of them together in the defense really hurt them. Carlisle even said after the game, they're like what did the Knicks do differently? What did they do differently tonight? They're like they played some of their better defenders.
Shimmy said, what do you make of Carlisle trying to get into Tibbs' head with his Achua and Payne references?
It's weird. Dolan, have you noticed that?
Yeah, I did notice with the Precious comment before the series even started. I don't know. I think Precious could contribute if you're going to go with a double big lineup, and then let's say Towns got, I don't know, a couple of early fouls or Mitch is tired or whatever. I have no problem throwing Precious out there for 5 minutes. I think he could match up well with a guy like Obi, or can defend Siakam or Miles Turner. I think he could do it just in small spurts. I'm not asking him to play 15 minutes, but if it's just a 5-minute little, to spell one of those guys, I have no problem with that.
I mean, you could go he could be your small ball center on the floor and giving Towns and Robinson.
Yeah, he did well. If you remember, he did well last year. It was a game 4 against the Sixers. Remember when they went super small with OG and Precious at the 4-5, and they won that game?
Yeah.
Right. As long as Indiana doesn't have 2 bigs out there, you could make that work.
He did well when he was the only healthy Knicks player at the end of the Pacers series last year, too.
It's just tough to have too many guys on the floor who don't stretch the floor. You cannot have Precious out there with Mitchell Robinson out there. That combo doesn't work. Towns and Precious, you could make that work. It's also, if you have those 2 out there, you don't want to have Josh Hart out there. It's like the whole chicken and the fox getting across the river conundrum.
Right. But I will say, we haven't mentioned him yet. Deuce has been incredible this series.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone was writing him off. I remember back in the Detroit series, I remember putting out a tweet saying I have full confidence in him and I still believe in Deuce McBride. And people were saying telling me to shut up, saying he's not Deuce anymore. He's Miles McBride. Everyone was writing that guy off for a couple of bad games.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, at the end of the Boston series, he looked great. Game 6. The Knicks. The thing is, he's one of those guys. The Knicks aren't going to win unless you get quality minutes out of him. What do you guys think of the fact that the starting unit, not the one from last night, but the typical 5-man they usually use, has the lowest negative rating of all lineups, basically of all starting lineups in the playoffs?
Jay, I'll let you take that one.
They seem to get stomped a lot in the first quarter, and I do think that Tibbs didn't make adjustments based on matchups, and there was some matchups that were getting exploited, I think, pretty regularly, and I'm glad it seems like Tibbs has figured that out now, if Game 3 was any indication, but sticking with that lineup, I know it's tough with the locker room, you got egos, and Hart even said, I feel like I'm a starter in this league. On the other hand, he did play 34 minutes anyway, so it's not like his minutes went from 36 to 34, so it wasn't a very big difference. I just I think that change should have come probably last series, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean Hart. It also just makes the bench better having Hart on the bench. I like the double big lineup a lot. It didn't seem to work amazingly. You're right; they missed a lot of shots in the first quarter.
I think they were playing tight. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was a disservice not using that double big lineup at all at the end of the year. They barely used it in the regular season. I know they didn't have a limited amount of time when Mitch was actually healthy, but they didn't. The lack of practice with that lineup together, I just think hurt them. I mean, whatever. They're here. They are where they are. So they made it this far, but.
Well, if you remember at the end of the season, I said they were going to do the Game 3 starting lineup for the whole playoffs, and I was surprised they didn't do that. I said they were holding off on it to catch teams by surprise with the Mitch starting lineup. And then it just never happened.
Right. And he's like, I'm gonna wait for game 3 of the conference finals. That's when that's when you gotta break out your surprise lineup.
That's when you start tinkering with lineups.
Right.
Dolan, what are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, look back at it now. Like, I mean, how desperate did it look in the moment when we're down by what, like 13 points, 15 points? You look up on the screen, and it's Shamit, DeLon Wright, McBride, like Mitchell Robinson, and Hart. Like that was the unit that was out there at one point. You're probably looking at like this is the first, and they're even saying on the broadcast, this is the first time this unit has played together this year. And you're thinking like now he's experimenting at this juncture of the season.
It's crazy. Towns had 20 points in the fourth quarter, but he only had 4, and again, he had foul issues. So we can talk about the referees in a moment. I feel like one of the keys to winning the series is Towns going to work on them down low. Like he has to drive, you have to unleash Towns going forward. They don't seem to be able to stop him.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, like they should. I love his outside jump shot. I mean, I don't like him when he pulls up from like just after the half court line and launches something up. But yeah, he should be punishing them down low every time, getting Siakam in trouble, getting Miles Turner in trouble. That's what he should be doing.
He went 3 for 7 from 3, and he shot some threes where you're like, that's questionable. 3 for 7 isn't terrible. I mean, it's 40% from 3. It just some of them looked a little bit questionable that he shot. That's all.
Right. I just can't stand when he's at the top of the key and he tries driving, and it's just the most like spastic movement ever. Never ends up being good.
So, what have you guys thought about the refereeing in the series? Not just last night. All three games. What has been your thought from game 1, game 2, and then last night?
You could start, Dylan.
I don't know. I think it's just typical nonsense with they're not. I feel like it's so inconsistent. Like that one foul, Mikal Bridges towards the end of the game, where it's like he barely was on Halliburton, I believe. He touches them and just like grazes him. I don't even think he touched them. And then they're calling a foul on that. But then there's other plays where you see Towns is driving, he's out of control. I mean, he's got the worst whistle out of I feel like any player in the NBA.
Yeah.
For his status.
Halliburton guarding him, he's just pushing Towns' arm, like literally pushing him. He's all over him. They go to review it and they're like, foul on Towns. That was incidental contact from Halliburton. I'm like Halliburton is actively fouling. Like, how is him pushing him not a foul?
Right. It's frustrating. It's everything. It's not even just the fouling. Even with the goaltend in game 1 and overtime.
Oh yeah.
I remember when they said like usually the referees call it a goaltend just so they have the opportunity to review it and then decide if it's really a goaltend or not. Like the fact that they didn't blow the whistle in that moment, super frustrating because that would have put them up by 6. And then as a result, they're only up by 4. Nembhard hits a 3. And then that game's completely different if we go up by 6, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, they call that goaltend that they can't hit the 3 on the other side. Like, the game's over. The Knicks win.
And then the travel on Towns that they called yesterday, I don't think he traveled.
He didn't.
Yeah.
That was 2 steps.
With all the traveling that goes on in the NBA, that's the one they call.
Right. And then they're not calling double dribbles on Halliburton on one of those plays. And then I think was it Neesmith or Nembhard had a double dribble yesterday. Even Reggie Miller said that they got away with one. So
I mean, it's also kind of crazy. Like Brunson palms the ball. Halliburton palms the ball. They're all traveling. They're all traveling the whole game, and this is what they call like.
Right. Have you seen that one picture of like Towns? Looks like he's basically being like he's in a headlock. Someone has him in a headlock from mine, and like there's no way that was called a foul. I'm sure.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I can't believe that 2 of Tim Donaghy's friends were making shady calls in the playoffs. It's shocking.
I didn't even hate the fact, like the refereeing. I was like, they missed the goaltend. They missed 2 goaltends in game 1, but I was like, the refereeing didn't seem so out of whack in game 1. Didn't seem so out of whack in game 2. I thought in game 3 last night, I just thought it was ridiculous. I thought the refs were just when Knicks were down 20, I was like, the refs have been horrible, but I can't even complain about it because we're down 20. But I thought the refereeing was just god awful.
Well, Ed Malloy has been making shady calls for almost 20 years. Like I think he went to the same high school as Tim Donaghy, and Scott Foster is the one that Tim Donaghy was calling before and after games. You can't convince me that they're honest refs.
Jay, there's only in the history of the NBA, there's one referee that was betting on the games. That's it. It was a lone gunman. Stop trying to say other low-paid referees are in on this. Like, they have no financial incentive to do this, Jay.
So who are the honorable ones? And no one likes Zach Zarba. No one likes Jason Goebel. Tony Brothers? Is that the one who we like, or who's the other guy?
I think Brothers depends on what I've seen other teams complain about Brothers.
They're all bad.
I think
They're all
Denver
bad.
was.
They're all bad.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Blanket
you're right.
statement.
Like it doesn't make sense that there was like one. It's like the magic bullet theory. Like he was not acting alone. Like there's clearly a whole like network wide corruption.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
or
don't know why
maybe-
they're against the Knicks so much. I feel like it was really bad in Detroit and Boston series too. Like I haven't
People
seen
are
one
making-
game where the Knicks had the benefit of the calls. There's a call here and there, but not for like the majority of the game.
Right, it's very inconsistent. The one now that I'm thinking about, the one yesterday that he challenged the offensive foul on Brunson. No, the one that Nimhart put his shoulder down and barreled Brunson over.
Right.
Yeah,
Like that was 100% offensive foul, and then it doesn't get called.
yeah.
I was like, I get like in the moment maybe you get that call wrong, but then they challenged it, went back and reviewed it, and they were like, no, we're going for the fix.
Yeah. We're not even gonna sugarcoat it at this point.
But I agree. I think it was worse in the Detroit series.
Detroit series was crazy because the Knicks were like, you're not allowed to like just foul on every play, and the referee's like, yeah, we're just not going to call any of that anymore. Like, the Knicks weren't ready for how physical Detroit was, which kind of helped them in the Celtics series because then the Knicks were ready for like it to be a physical series.
I've just never seen the term incidental contact used in any other form other than to screw the Knicks. It's just like code word for you're allowed to foul the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen. I mean, even with as I even said yesterday in one of my tweets. I mean, I've never seen a professional sports team where everyone is out to get them especially from the national media. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Everyone takes so much glory in like just shitting on the Knicks. And think about it. I know that people like don't like the Yankees, because of all the championships and they were the evil empire and all that other stuff. But But I think the Knicks as a whole has a level of hatred.
Yeah,
It's
people
weird.
usually resent teams that won a lot, like the Patriots, or like, I don't know why. Like, if you don't think the media hates the Knicks, look at any national news outlets' tweets when the Knicks were down 20 last night. They were gloating, just happiness, pure joy that the Knicks were about to go down 3-0.
It's so weird because like the NBA, like the two biggest markets in the NBA are New York and LA. New York, NBA is like glad to shit all over them. They don't care what happens in New York. They're happy seem to be happy when New York does poorly. LA, they're like, LeBron's retiring. We'll get you Luka.
Right.
Like it's so crazy. And obviously, I mean, like it was. They also the whole Dallas. I was hanging out with a Dallas fan today. I was like, yeah. Do you believe the draft was like not fixed? He's like, no, it was fixed. I'm happy the trade works better now that we got Cooper.
Right. But you know what? This is why my parody works, only because the media is out to get the Knicks.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only reason why the parody works.
Let's take a couple questions from fans and one not fan. Tom, this is not a fan. From Halagoat account on Twitter. Do you all really think you have a chance to win this series? What do you think, Dolan?
100%. I think yesterday, Indiana is like the biggest front running team ever, and I feel like us coming back, not just beating them, coming back to beat them, being down 20 points. I feel like tomorrow night they're going to be so tight where, it's going to be a close game. I'm not saying we're going to blow them out, but I think tomorrow night we're going to play a sound game from start to end, and we're going to beat them. I think they lost all their confidence. I feel like a lot of their win came out of their sails after losing like the way they did yesterday.
Right. I think it really hurts you when you see a team come back on you. You're like, I thought we had them down, and again, obviously the Patriots to the Knicks earlier, but like, I don't know. It's tough to win the next game after that happens. I think the Knicks. I also think what you said. Like, so what are the keys? What do you think the keys are for the Knicks to win this series?
You're asking me?
I mean, yeah. Well, either one,
okay.
jump in, but yeah, go, Dolan, go.
The keys to winning the series. I mean, I think we need to get a good game out of McHale. I think he has to shoot the ball well. I think we just need to have a good shooting night. I think we just need to play good defense. Just do what we discovered yesterday. Play a deeper rotation, and just hope the refs don't screw us over.
It seemed like at some point in the regular season, Mikal Bridges, especially early on in the season, he could not miss these little fault. Like everything else, he wasn't hitting his threes, but like the 10-foot fall away threes, 10-foot fall away twos, he was making them and making them and making them. He could not hit one of these last night. It was so goddamn frustrating. And
Yeah.
he hasn't had that many good games in the playoffs so
Yeah,
far.
I've accepted that he's streaky, but I feel like he's clutch when we need him. Like he'll have like those putbacks or whatever. He like some slithers his way, gets behind the defense and able to put something back. When someone has a miss or something like that. So I don't know. I've accepted him for who he is. He's not perfect, obviously, and he's not worth the 5 picks that we gave up to get him. But I don't know. He's still a good player.
We don't beat Boston without him. He had
Right, exactly.
2 amazing defensive plays. He was great in like the fourth quarter. I think was it game 2. Like he's done everything. I'm happy to trade the 5 picks just to beat Boston. I'm happy about that alone. And he's fine. But yeah, we need a better game out of him. What else? What else do we need? So we need Bridges to hit more of his shots. What else do we need?
I just think the offense needs to be in sync from like start to finish. I feel like they're how disjointed they look in the first quarter yesterday with everything. So they just need to be on the same page. I don't know how that's done. It's frustrating because I feel like during the regular season, I remember like the game when they went on the West Coast earlier in the season, when they went to Phoenix and went to Denver, the ball was moving, like Brunson was getting everyone involved, and you saw like how lethal our offense can look. So I just feel like where has that been in the playoffs? I feel like there's a little bit of too much Brunson trying to, assert himself early in the game, and then maybe that comes, as derails everything else, So
Containing Siakam would be pretty. I mean, game 2, we didn't talk that much about game 2. Game 2, Siakam killed us. Containing Siakam would be a huge key to winning this game. Like I just feel like he's one of those guys that like last night they kept him like 17 points. That's a huge key. You have to just keep him within, like, he can get his 20 points, that's fine. You cannot let Siakam go off on you.
Totally, yeah, I agree.
You know what? Crazy. I pointed out to Jay, but I thought the stat was crazy from last night. Without looking, I don't know if you looked already. How many assists do you think the Knicks got last night?
How many assists?
Yeah, how many assists? Because this is like an important stat, right? Like the win, the Knicks need to pass the goddamn ball.
I'm gonna say 25. I don't know.
13.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
How many assists do you think Brunson got last night?
6 or 7?
1.
That's it? Oh my god.
How'd they win this game? How'd they win that game?
I don't know.
That's such a crazy stat that they had 13 assists. If you told me the Knicks got 13 assists, I would assume they lost by 40 points. Like just got their asses kicked, basically.
Yeah. When Halliburton stole the ball and dunked it to go up 20 and Reggie Miller's like, this is the knockout blow. Like I was getting vibes that this was going to be very similar to that game where they beat Cleveland when they were up by like 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to go down by 40 or 50. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. And then I'm like, game 4. I was like playing it all out in my head. I'm like, game 4 is definitely gonna be one of those where they're gonna jump out to like an early 12-point lead. They're gonna lose it, and then they're gonna probably. I'm like, just please, just don't get swept. That's all I was thinking.
How annoying is it that goddamn Reggie Miller does every one of the games? I saw someone joke online. They're like, why don't you add Michael Jordan to the broadcast also, and Jimmy Butler? Like, had the 3 of them do the game for the Knicks.
It's unbearable. And Stan Van Gundy is also horrendous.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's just like the worst guy. Every game we have this.
And then they added Draymond to the panel. It's like you had Jalen Rose in the first round, like who's Mr. Pistons, and then now you have Draymond Green, who obviously hates Karl Anthony Towns and has nothing nothing nice to say about the Knicks. It's like they find anyone they can. I wish TNT would just give me Ian Eagle instead with Grant Hill.
Just give me
or
something better.
Spiro Ditas.
What happened to Jamal Crawford?
Anthony.
He was good.
How is Jeff Van Gundy not doing games? I know that ESPN fired him, but he was so good on the games.
Jeff Van Gundy, isn't he on the Clippers coaching staff or no?
Is he on the Clippers coaching staff?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Clippers can get rid of him and make him the announcer again. Nigel writes, topic. We all know Brunson slows us down offensively against the Pacers team that works in Indiana's favor too much, allowing their transition defense to set. We need to accept this and give some of Brunson's minutes to Deuce and utilize Wright more for defense to win this. What do you think? He saw last night. This is his comments. Brunson played 31 minutes last night. Do you think Brunson should be playing under 35 minutes in these games and more Deuce, more DeLon?
Jay, you want to take this one or you want me?
You could start. I'll comment after.
I don't know how you can limit Brunson and say like we're only going to play you like 30 minutes. I mean, he's the captain. You got to play
Yeah.
Brunson. If anything, you're going to limit someone's minutes. I don't know how they do it. It's a very complicated math equation of how they make it all work out. But
Where last night had the perfect formula because you had Towns and Brunson in foul trouble. So in some ways you had to limit them at certain times.
right, maybe it'll work out organically again.
But Brunson I mean, I guess he fouled out the in that game against Boston. But like Brunson usually doesn't get a lot of fouls. And you're right, like in theory, Brunson should play 40 minutes. But I also get the idea of like we need more defensive lineups basically to slow them down. That's why you need maybe lineups where like more of either Brunson on the floor or Towns on the floor separately to make them the point of. I mean, I guess you also shouldn't have an ISO offense. You should have more of a passing offense to begin with as
Right.
well.
Yeah. I think a big it's not, and I love Jalen Brunson. I don't want this to sound like that I'm bad mouthing by any means, and you have some ungrateful fans out there who do, but I feel like sometimes it's all about his mentality. I feel like when he comes out and it's like he wants to like kill the opponent, and it's all and everyone else is standing around. I feel like that's where the Knicks suffer. Right? When the ball's moving, we have so many weapons.
So in game one, as the meltdown, I felt like the meltdown really kicked up when he came back into the game, because they had that lineup out there that was I forget, it was maybe it was Towns and Mitchell Robinson together, but we were playing really well without Brunson, and then Brunson came back in the game around 5 minutes to go, and then the meltdown ensued, and obviously like Brunson should be able to get us the. Like Brunson got some really big baskets. He's amazing. He's the captain. He's one of the greatest Knicks ever. Yeah, I don't know. Like there.
Right, I heard it somewhere on whether it was someone's tweet or heard on a different podcast. It's like he takes it like personally, like where he wants to, like give it to his opponent, and I feel like forget the sight of like the whole team ball,
Right. He can play hero. The thing is like. Well, so the next question is about Melo and Brunson. I'll mention in a second, but like Melo played hero ball or Randall played hero ball, and it felt like they didn't hit the shot. Whereas Brunson, you're like, I don't like hero ball, but Brunson kind of delivers a lot on hero ball. So it's like you're comfortable with him doing it, but sometimes it just screws us basically.
Right.
I mean, this was probably his worst playoff game of his career, so this is kind of an outlier. He was the only Knick with a negative.
What was his final point total?
23 points. He was 10 for 10 from the free throw line, which saved him because he was 6 for 18 from the field.
He was really bad last year shooting in games 1 and 2 against the Sixers, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
If you look it up, I think he was like 7 of 25 or something like that, and like in the first game, it was like something really bad. It was like 20, like low 30s or high 20%.
I mean, generally in the NBA, you live and die with your star players. And so, like, I'm willing to, like, live and die with Jalen Brunson, but you also have to find a way to make this work.
I don't think Brunson should play less, but I do think the Brunson Towns minutes should be staggered more. One, you always have an elite offensive threat out there, but two, you don't have two negative defenders at the same time.
Right. I feel like they don't need to play 40 minutes. I think the point I think Dolan made earlier about, like, guys just get tired. Like, you're probably better off. I mean, the game will dictate this, but you're probably better off having Brunson play 35 minutes because you'll have probably better 35 minutes than you'll have a 40 minutes where he's just tired legs to get in the game.
I mean, there's a lot of good defenders on the bench, too. I mean, last night the bench was McBride, Hartwright, and Shamet. All those guys are good defenders. So that's also why I like the extended lineup, because you're always having good defenders coming into the game. Which is kind of giving like the Pacers a taste of their own medicine, tiring them out. Because Wright was doing full court presses.
Yeah, he played. I mean, like again, he didn't seem like he really wanted to shoot the ball. He had that one great pass from Towns under the basket, and he scored. But he didn't seem like him and Shamet seemed like kind of like they seemed like they felt a little bit uneasy with shooting because they were worried about like screwing it. I mean, Shamet hit a 3, but I felt like they both were like. Especially DeLon Wright, like it seemed like he was not going to shoot the ball unless it was like he was wide open, like under the basket.
What's good about DeLon Wright also is that he's 6'5", so he's a big,
Right.
guard. So he can neutralize Halliburton's size advantage.
Yeah, Halliburton seemed like he did not like getting full court pressed.
TJ McConnell, by the way, like I remember how irritating he was last year, and I'm irritated again with him this year. I feel like how is this guy who's smaller than everyone else besides me, but probably the same height as Brunson, but he kills us every game. He missed a key shot last night towards the end of the fourth quarter. When he missed that shot, I was like, we might do this. Like,
Is he good against any other team, or is he just only exist to screw the Knicks?
I don't know. It's like Dennis Schroeder from round one.
Yeah.
Schroeder did not miss at all.
Yeah.
T.J. McConnell used to kill us when he was on Philly. I remember
Yeah.
I remember always seeing like I remember just like yeah, exactly. I think it was
Do
just the
you
Knicks.
notice his shooting form? I tweeted this out last night. It's the same as what the graphics looked like in Double Dribble from Nintendo.
Did they say
Yeah.
that his dad was like a high school basketball coach?
Yeah. But look at his
Yeah.
shooting form. How his arms are over his head.
Mhm.
And then I'll send you the tweet later on. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Base Nick fan writes, "Who was the better ball hog, Melo or Jalen? I feel like Melo didn't make as dumb a plays as Jalen does in close games." And I would say, base Nick fan, I think you're misremembering Melo. Brunson's much better in close games than Melo was.
Yeah. Much. I don't even think it's close. But plus, like, he does do hero ball, but he's also more consistently a willing passer.
Yes. Well, he is the point guard also. Melo was not. He had the 62-point game where he didn't get an assist.
Yeah.
And I mean, Melo was an awesome scorer. So, Dolan, we'd love to hear a little bit about your origin story.
Oh wait, we have two emails first.
Oh, actually, I think we have go with the emails. Actually, I missed some questions also. Go.
Sam writes, "Hey guys, can you explain how you can treat a game up by 8 with about 3 minutes to win Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals on your home court, and it's like the 42nd game of the regular season against the Bulls? I can't understand. What a fucking disgrace."
Wait, what?
This was after Game 1, where
After Game 1,
they didn't take the game seriously, and
Yeah. I was like last night. I felt like the Knicks. Like, what's he criticizing? Okay. Reginald writes. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what kind of coach the Knicks should look for if they lose this series. Do you think Tibbs should be replaced under these hypothetical circumstances? I feel like it's I don't. Do we really want to talk about the Knicks replacing Tibbs after they won a game?
Tibbs making the conference finals locked him into the job. He's not getting moved.
I think if they got swept, maybe he's replaced. Dolan, what do you think? Do you think there's any chance that Tibbs gets fired?
I think he's fine now. I think after Game 1 collapse, if they lost by like 35, 40 points last night, and I think if you had a Game 4, also like one of those typical games where they get out to like when the team is down 0-3 and they get out to the early like 10, 12-point lead and then it slips away and before you know it, they're down by 12, 15 points. I feel like if they went out like that in a 4-game sweep, I could see them firing him. Because in a way, the way I think of Tibbs is that he's great. His biggest strength is turning a bad team to a good team, but can he turn a good team to a great team?
Mm-hmm.
That's like probably the biggest knock on him, like his ceiling as a coach. But I think he's safe now.
Yeah, I mean, getting back past the Celtics, like, should have secured his job. And you're right, like, if they got swept, maybe you reconsider. But he has his team fighting, playing really. Like, there's a lot of reasons to criticize Tibbs, but how many coaches are there going to have their team fighting this hard?
And Brunson likes him. Brunson chose, from my sources, Brunson chose the Knicks. Big part of it was that Tibbs was there. So
he did know Tibbs from like growing up, basically. So.
Yeah. So he's got the full support of the captain. So
yeah, I just don't see it. Reginald also writes, please reconsider ending the show at the end of the season. Jay and I don't know if I forget if we've made you aware of this, but we are ending our show soon.
Right? I listen to you guys all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we will do more occasional episodes in the future, but not regular episodes. I think that's the.
Because what are you guys doing now? Once a week?
Yeah, we're doing once a week. And there are podcasts that do every night. They're like there's like the Locked On Knicks guys, which I think they do a good job. They do 5 shows a week. I just don't have the time. Jay and I both just don't have the time.
We got offered the Locked On Knicks job, and
when it was first coming out, when they first came to New York.
The condition was we had to do 5 days a week, and we're just like, no, we can't do that.
By the way, on a total separate, in the entire time we've done this show, I've never had anyone like recognize me or like the other day I'm standing outside my daughter's school. They just had like it was like they just had a concert with like a chorus and everything else. And a guy just comes up to me and goes, "You like he knew me. He didn't even ask who I was. He just knew right away I was the guy from the show." I was like, "This is the first time I've ever been recognized for the show. It's outside my daughter's school." And by the way, the person who came up to me, I was just stunned that someone had recognized me. I meant to be, if I wasn't friendly, I meant to be friendly. I was just so stunned that anyone had ever recognized me from the show.
It's an ego boost, isn't it?
It was so. I told my wife, and she's like, someone else listens to your show. I'm like, apparently.
Well, I got a funny story. This is I'm not trying to be like a humble brag, but I went to Game 3 of the Knicks Celtics series. So my wife's company has a luxury box. So
Yeah.
I was there, and I'm talking to one of her coworkers' husbands, who's a diehard Knicks fan, and he's just like, referencing all the stuff from like the early 90s. And I said to him, like, I wasn't really a big Knicks fan back then, to be honest with you. And he's like, "So how did you become a fan?" So I told him, like, "Yeah, I'm like, it's a stupid story. I started like this Twitter parody a couple of years ago." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Which one? I follow a bunch of them." He's like, "You like that Dolan Trump one?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's me." And then the guy was like starstruck. He's like, "You're Dolan Trump?" He's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yes, I am." I had to show him my Twitter. And then what's funny, we leave the garden, we get on the subway, and my wife goes, "So how did he figure out that you're Dolan Trump?" So I started telling her the story, and all of a sudden this guy taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Excuse me, did you just say you're Dolan J. Trump?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I follow your Twitter handle." He's like, "You do a great job." So
Your
That's
your
really
account
funny.
That was
like,
bizarre.
yeah, your account blew up. Like,
Yeah.
you went from like 0 to 90 in like half a second. It was like,
It's a very clever idea. Basically,
Yeah.
merging the two individuals.
yeah.
Right.
Um,
I give a lot of my credit to Frank Isola and Evan Roberts. Without them, I never probably would have made it.
Did you ever? I guess when you first made it, were you like, when will I get contacted from the Knicks to take this down?
Well, as I was telling you guys before we started the show, when I first created the account, and I tweeted at Frank Isola saying I called him a third-rate reporter or whatever, and he went into my DMs and he said, "I guarantee MSG will have you shut down by Monday afternoon." And I thought I was like done. I was like so paranoid and like they're gonna find out, but it never happened. And then I was selling merchandise for a while, and then I was always paranoid about that, and then so. But I mean, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I don't cast Dolan in a bad light. So if anything, like
No.
I made him like more likable, and now he is likable. He's like
Mhm.
pulling up in the garden, like throwing basketballs to like kids outside after each game. So it's like he's on a complete 180.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
he is
His image has never been better.
I mean, his image has never been better. Him going on the roommates podcast also, like, I mean, the image was like the Knicks were playing well, so that obviously enhances his image, and he's kind of been very hands off. And he went on the roommates podcast, and you were like, "Oh, he sounds like such a likable individual on this roommates podcast. Like, he did such a great job on that. He sounded like an owner that really cared."
Right. Yeah. I mean, his biggest fault is always that he was loyal to the wrong people.
Mhm.
Isaiah
Right.
Thomas, Steve Mills. I mean, he gave Phil Jackson pretty long leash, and he never got rid of these guys.
I mean, he admitted the making more mistake, like just hiring the like butting in a little bit too much early on. I think he admitted that on the roommates podcast.
Right. Well, a lot of them. I mean, how many owners are guilty of that? I mean, Ishbia looks like he's a total disaster in Phoenix.
Mhm.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
How do you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? You can't even make the goddamn playoffs.
Right.
What was I going to ask you? The
Origin story.
the origin story. Do you want to give a quick origin story?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I don't know how many of your audience know this, but I'm not afraid to admit it. I grew up a New Jersey Nets fan. I had a Yinka Dare jersey. That's how much of a Nets fan I
That's
was.
a big Net fan.
That is a deep cut. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the most ridiculous jersey collection. I had Derek Coleman, I had Kenny Anderson, and then I had Yinka, and I had Jason Williams.
Okay.
That's yeah. I mean, obviously,
Right.
good
And
players,
then,
yeah.
of course, Jason Kidd. So I was a huge Nets fan growing up. And then I had a little falling out with the team, I would say pretty much around 2013, maybe 2014, where I told you guys a story earlier on. I don't like to always like give too much details of how I fell out with the team, but
Sure.
I was sitting there in the abyss, not without a team, and then the Oakley incident happened with the Oakley ban, and then At the same time, you had the Muslim ban taking place under the Trump administration. So then I always say that that's my Back to the Future, Doc Brown hitting his head on the toilet seat and envisioning the flux capacitor. I just connected all the dots that Dolan is Trump. Everything from, the empire given to him by his father, him having his loyal his loyal spies
Yeah.
that work for him being petty and always fighting with the media, stuff like that. That's the origins of the Dolan Trump account.
Oh, I was gonna say, and obviously you have no way of knowing this. I don't know how much we have no idea if Dolan spends any time on Nick's Twitter at all. But I imagine it's like he has people that work for him. Do you think Dolan knows about your account? And if he does he just have a good sense of humor?
I don't know. Someone started following me 3 days ago. I did a screenshot of it. So it said Jay Dolan, and then it was like some random number afterwards.
Oh yeah,
It's following you, and I did a quote tweet. And it said Jim ? But someone told me a couple of years ago. Someone, I don't know who it was. They said that there's people within the garden that know I exist. I don't know if Dolan does.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they enjoyed the account. So
I imagine he knows, and someone has alerted to him, and he thought it was funny enough, and just said, let it be, basically.
right, and I mean, I'm not doing anything that's that's.
Most of your jokes seem more about Trump, like Trump as a Knicks. If he was running the Knicks, then it was then really James Dolan. It's really more Trump as the Knicks owner.
Right. The only thing I can maybe see him like getting offended by is if I tweet out a picture of Dolan, like in his his JD in the straight shot, like pictures and stuff like that, or I don't know, but like I'm sticking up for the Knicks against the media, and I'm not doing anything that
it's humor.
I'm not bad mouthing the team or the brand. So if anything, I'm a mouthpiece for them. So.
Like remember that incident with the fan who like told him to sell the team, and he had the fan like banned from the arena. Like, if he feels you were being mean, I feel like he would maybe have done something about it. But he probably is just like, if he's aware of it, probably just thinks it's a funny idea and just like probably doesn't follow it, but probably is like, or maybe just started following you 3 days ago and you're like gonna get your letter tomorrow. But yeah, maybe I'm gonna say for Dolan, I bet he has a good sense of humor.
Maybe. Oh, I have no idea.
Hope so.
I would love to meet. I just want to meet him just so I can take a picture with him, and then we can Photoshop my face out and put the Dolan Trump face on on my body, and then it's like a real picture of me with James Dolan.
That would be hilarious.
That would be
the
kind
best.
of amazing. That would be kind of amazing.
I mean, that
like,
would.
When I met Joe Tsai years ago, we did the exact same thing. I took a picture with Tsai, and then we replaced. Did you ever see that picture of me with Joe Tsai or no?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'll share it
no.
with you guys. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's pretty amazing that you had a big picture with him, though.
Yeah. That was a fun.
So, as a Nets fan, someone who grew up as a Nets fan, the Nets' biggest moment outside of like when they made the finals, like in the early 2000s, the biggest moment was when they got Durant and Kyrie. And at that point, you had switched sides. You were a Knicks fan. Did you at all think about switching back?
No, not at all. As I say, this is like the Nets were like a former marriage. I got divorced, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I say that joining the Knicks fan base was the best decision. I was making that comment. This is when we had Frank Ntilikina and Enes Kanter, and we were winning 22 games. And meanwhile, the Nets were actually starting to like become a respectable organization with D'Angelo Russell and Karis LeVert and Joe Harris. But I never wanted to go back to the Nets. Absolutely not. And yeah.
What's your lowest and your best moment as a Knicks fan so far?
Lowest moment might have been Game 1 against the Pacers. That was brutal.
That was really rough. I can't make it the lowest moment because they were there to like have that moment. Like you can't have. I feel like it's hard to have your lowest moment in the conference finals.
I don't know, but I didn't go to sleep that night.
That was. I mean, like
I don't know, there's been a lot. I mean, like the Zion draft was upsetting.
I gotta say
that lottery.
The 48 hours after that Game 1 loss, I just could all I could think, I was just in shock. Basically, I was like, I kept telling people I'm numb. Like this shouldn't affect me so much, but I am numb after that game.
I couldn't talk to you about anything else for the next 48 hours.
What's your best moment?
Like you mean from like a game or just like from the standpoint of just being a fan? I don't know. Just
being a fan, yeah.
Being a fan, honestly, like I just think my Twitter account, like growing the way it has, like it's been probably the best thing. And I'm not a grifter, like people, who say like he's really a Nets fan and he's just doing this. No. I'm a legitimate Knicks fan, and
Well, now,
Yeah,
now,
if
you've, now
anything,
you've admitted that the Nets are just your ex-wife.
correct, yeah, and I despise them. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but if anything, like I read the book Blood in the Garden, I read the other book Knicks of the '90s. If anything, like I look back now, I'm like, I wish I was a Knicks fan back then because such a better history. Like those '90s Knicks teams were awesome. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, I was, I mean, I grew up in Jersey. That's why I'm a Nets fan. That's why I was a Nets fan. But we were going up against you guys with like Armand Gilliam and Mookie Blaylock and Kenny Anderson. It was like not a fair fight.
Yeah.
It with Knicks fandom, like if you're a Rangers fan, they're Islanders fans. If you're a Mets fan, they're Yankee fans. And I know there are Nets fans, of course, but it really feels like almost all of New York is just united behind the Knicks. So it's like there's no like, oh, you root for the other team. Everyone's just a Knicks fan, which is like nicer for the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
We have
So what predictions? I think we're coming to the end of the show. What predictions do we have going outside of the Knicks winning the series? Give us some hot takes for what's going to happen.
Boy, you're really putting me on the spot. I mean, if this was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, I would have said we're trading Towns for Giannis somehow. I don't know.
Stephen A. Like the Knicks are going into the series. He's posting about how like I think he was going into Game 6 against the Celtics. He's posting about Giannis's preferred location might be New York. I'm like, Stephen A., are you a real Knicks fan? You're talking about like this right now.
He talks about anything other than basketball games. He did a LeBron versus Jordan debate 2 days ago. It's like, what are you doing with your show?
Right. Man, you're putting me on the spot. I really don't have any hot takes right now. I know it's probably not what you guys want to hear. Bad for ratings, but I can't think of anything. To my defense, also, I just spent about 9 hours in the car. I was in Toronto this past weekend, so visiting family. So I just got home, hopped on the show with you guys. So my brain.
We really appreciate you jumping on. Jay, hot takes? Give us some hot takes.
We have one more email first.
One more. Go.
nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Jorge writes, I'm just glad the podcast didn't end with us getting swept. Hey, guys, my question is, what type of ritual does Mark do when we lose? He's definitely up to something.
How am I screwing us, basically?
Yeah.
I'm doing something. I don't know. Yeah, I've gone through. I was telling Jay that I have this Knicks shirt. I'm like, this is my lucky Knicks shirt. Then the Knicks lose. I'm like, okay, that Knicks shirt's done. Game 2, I have a lucky black Knicks shirt's done. Now I have a different Knicks shirt. That's my lucky Knicks shirt for the next game. Yeah. I don't know. There's something about my fandom. It just doesn't work out for my teams. But yeah.
Who else do you root for?
The Mets and the Jets. The Mets obviously have been good, and they look like they have a good team this year.
Okay, I've been hearing this every year since I met Mark. It never works out.
Jay, I'd like to ask you, like, after the Knicks show's done, we should do a Mets podcast where I could tell you all about the Mets while you contemplate your suicide out loud during the show.
Every year, it's like, oh my God, the Mets are so good this year. Oh, it's amazing. And then it gets quieter and quieter as the summer goes along. And then I don't hear about the Mets from like September on.
Okay, so the Mets, first of all, for Jay hates baseball, but also the Mets went on a historic run last year. And they didn't win it, but I don't think I want to see it. I just want to see one of my teams win the title. Any of these 3 teams. I'm a Ranger fan also. I'm just not that big into hockey. Who are your Dolan? Who are your teams?
So baseball, I grew up I grew up a diehard Yankees fan. You're probably thinking like all this guy does is switch allegiances. So I grew up
You're
a
Met fan now.
No, well, I don't have a baseball team. I just root for both locals. So I was a diehard Yankee fan, and then I stopped liking them when in the early 2000s when they brought in Giambi, they brought in A-Rod, they brought in like Randy Johnson and Messina, and I'm like, this is just out of control. I'm like, they have like a payroll like $250 million, and then they're playing the Minnesota Twins or the Oakland A's in the playoffs with like a $40 million payroll. I'm like, how is this fair?
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped liking the Yankees only on that principle alone. But now the Yankees don't bother me. I watch the Yankees and the Mets. So, but I do fantasy baseball, so I follow the sport like entirety. But I don't have like but I root for both locals. But more, I probably the Mets playoff run really they won me over last year. That was great.
I thought for a second Dolan was about to go. I haven't told you guys about my lesser known Twitter handle, Dolan J. Cohen.
Right. No, and then football, don't ask me why. I'm a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan. Anyone who knows me in real life knows I've been that's like my identity. Anyone who knows me always like says like brings up the Vikings. So I've been a Vikings fan since I'm in third grade. You want to talk about rooting for a cursed franchise? That team never wins anything. They lose it always in spectacular fashion. So
I'm a Jet fan. There's no other cursed franchise. Like we are the cursed franchise.
no,
There's-
Vikings are. The Vikings are the Boston Red Sox before the Boston Red Sox won their World Series. I'm telling you, the Vikings, everything as the good can go bad always goes bad for them. So, and every year I'm an idiot who always thinks that this is gonna be the year. Like even like last year, like we were so well coached with Kevin O'Connell. Darnold's having a
Right, you
Cinderella
guys had a pretty good
season,
year.
and then it all came like to a crashing end at the end of the season.
I mean, we just keep signing everything you could possibly do wrong as a franchise. The Jets have done.
Yeah, but see, the Jets are poorly run. The Vikings are well run. If you always look at the Vikings' history, they never have a season where they're 4-12 or now it's 4-13. They're always they've always historically been like I'm going to go off the 16-game schedule, but they were always 10-6, 11-5. They were always a good team. The Denny Green era into the Mike Zimmer era, like. In Brad Childress, they had the NFC champ. Every 10 years, they rise up and get to the NFC Championship game, only to get destroyed in that game.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I was saying like your team isn't that cursed, but I guess you guys never win.
No, we
it.
are. We are. 2009 against the Saints, 1998 against the Falcons. The Vikings were 15-1 and played the Falcons. That was the team that had Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Jake Reed, Randall Cunningham's amazing year, and they completely choked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Trust
remember
me.
enough of the Minnesota their history.
98 Vikings. 98 Vikings or 2009 with Favre, but they choke always in the biggest game possible. So, but I'm loyal. I'll be with them till the end. Hopefully, I'll see a Super Bowl.
Hopefully, your team doesn't have a butt fumble or a sign a QB and have him tear his Achilles on play 3 of the season. And I mean, we've just had that just a terrible history also. But either way, we can reunite. We can unite on the Knicks being. We're gonna have a championship soon, right? We're gonna win this year.
I hope that's the hope, obviously. So,
okay, so hot take. I think Brunson is going to have a Brunson 40-point game next game. He's going to go nuclear, and that's going to be going to lead us to victory. Like everyone's like, oh, Brunson needs to limit Brunson's minutes. He's going to go crazy next game.
All right. You heard it here first. Is that your golden guarantee?
My golden guarantee is the Knicks win this series.
how do you think the rest of the games play out, though? You think they win Game 4?
Yeah, I think you have to win Game 4.
And what about? And then what? They win 5, lose 6, and then they win 7.
Go
Yeah,
7?
that
Yeah,
sounds
they
about
have
right,
revenge
yeah.
from last year if they win Game 7.
I just worry, and I can see it happening. I still see them winning in 7. I can see them in Game 6 just getting absolutely blown out. Like they'll win an inspired effort in Game 4. They'll win Game 5 pretty convincingly, maybe like 10, 12 points, and then in Game 6 in Indianapolis, I can see them losing by like 30. It'll be
That collapse like they did Game 5 against the Celtics, that kind of thing.
right, and then they'll rally back in Game 7. Will be a great, dramatic win.
Oh, do we want to comment at all about the other series, OKC Minnesota? OKC wins first 2 games, and then Minnesota crushes them for Game 3. Is that a blip, or is Minnesota going to make a real series out of that?
I don't know. I hope Minnesota wins.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, Randall and Dante facing New York in the finals would be like just a perfect ending to the season.
Well, I would love to see them win the series, but if the Knicks lose this series, then I don't want to see them win either. I would be having to see Randall and Dante in the finals, and the Knicks not in the finals. That would also crush me. Maybe I should be a bigger man and be very just happy for them, but I can only be happy for them if the Knicks also have success.
Right.
So what's your prediction for that series?
My prediction?
Yeah.
They're probably playing right now, right? They're about to tip off.
They're just about to start, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if. I feel like Oklahoma City is going to probably win that series in 6.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, though. I can't stand Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, his style of play. I cannot stand. And I don't know. For some reason, I can't stand Hartenstein anymore.
Really?
I don't know. I know he left and he had to leave because he was getting way more money and it was a great opportunity. But I don't know. It's something. Maybe it's because how the media was just like constantly talking about it all throughout the season. I don't know. I don't know. I root for Dante and Randall more than I do Hartenstein.
I agree with that. Though. I definitely root for those guys more. Like I'm like, Hartenstein, he got the money, he got the prize. I don't care if he loses.
Yeah,
Versus,
I really wanted them to lose to Denver.
yeah, I wanted them to lose to Denver also. I would have loved to have seen Denver, Minnesota this round.
Only if they had lost to Denver, I had the tweet all ready to go about how ironic it was that Hartenstein left the Knicks to go to a contender, and then the Knicks are going to be advancing further in the playoffs.
That will hopefully you still get to send that tweet.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. That could still happen.
That could still very well happen. That would be awesome. Seeing the Knicks versus Minnesota would be just an unbelievable story for the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's Jay. Anything else?
No, Dolan, thanks for joining us. It was great having you on.
No, thanks for having me on. I'm glad, like I said, we were finally able to find a time.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for being able to jump on right after like an 8-hour car ride.
No, it was good.
All right. We will be back next week, hopefully talking about a trip to the finals.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right.
Yeah. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, absolutely.